Aloha mai kako. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Moana Nui podcast. I am your host, Moana, and tonight I am joined by my co-host, Dana. Dana, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Dana. I am with Danique Events for event planning and photography. A lot of you may know me from being a con staff photographer, cosplay photographer, and more. And so I'm looking forward to you all joining us for the next hour to learn a bit more about our guests.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana. So tonight we are joined by David Crownson. He is a writer, creator of, and CEO of Kingwood Comics. He is also the author of Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer, which is one of my favorite comics from 2020. I just caught up on the series. And I'm really excited to have him with us tonight to talk a little bit more about his story and get behind the scenes of his work. David can be found on both Instagram and Twitter at D Crownson and on Facebook at Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. So without further ado, we'll bring him on.
Hey!
What's going on? Hey, David.
How's it going? I don't know why I'm talking like this.
I love it. As you can see, David has an amazingly funny personality. It's one of the things I love about him, in addition to him being an amazing creator. So thank you again for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you so much for look what you did to my voice. Look what you did. I was all touched. I mean, but thank you for
He's doing his tickle me Elmo.
like that. That's how I am, like in real life and shit. Awesome. Thank you for having me. This is great. This is awesome.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up and how did you find yourself in comics?
Yeah, I was born and raised in New Jersey in Hunterdon County. Very white area. There was only two brothers in the whole school system, me and my brother. That's a little joke. My brother, no, I'm kidding. I do have a brother, but he grew up in another area. But anywho, like my dad, I got into comics when Superman died. Like there was a Death of Superman book that was coming out, and like my dad was like, "Yo, this is gonna be like worth a lot of money. Like, let me buy you this. Like, it's called a graphic novel. Read this." And like, I don't know, that's kind of messed up. My dad like made me read this book where Superman's being beaten to death. I was like, yeah, this is some morbid shit, Dad. What's going on? But yeah, I just read that, and again, this is my introduction to Superman. Like, not Christopher Reeve. This is like the 90s. This is my first time being introduced to Superman, and he dies. So like, I always thought, oh, like. I thought, oh, so that's it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I thought this dude was a hero, and he's always hyped. And it was all over the news, like a real person died, right? And this is around the time I think DC Comics was trying to do their death of thing. They even did a book where it was Batman getting his back broken, right? And like Batman Broken Bat. And those are the two books my dad got me into. So these are books with like no happy endings. So it like kind of shaped me, but then I realized I'm like, oh, there was like a continuation. And then Superman was brought back to life. And then I just got into cartoons. Like I would get the newspaper and I would read like the back where it's like Heathcliff and Peanuts, Family Circus, and I just kind of fell in love with comics through that, and would make my own little like goofy cartoons. I couldn't draw for shit, but I just thought it was like a fun way of telling a story. So that was my introduction, and I would read every single like Spider-Man book because there was a bookstore like back in my day, kids, if you're listening, there was this thing called Borders, right? Back in my day in 2002, there was this little place called Borders where there was books, music, and coffee. And I would go there after school and just read every single graphic novel that they had and wait till my mom picked me up. And it was the best. But yeah, that's my introduction to comics. I never imagined a career in comics. I didn't really know how to get into that, really. I just thought, oh, this is like a fun thing. And I was more interested like in filmmaking and in acting.
Mm.
And I was a fan of comics, and then randomly I'm a creator of it now and have a career in it and have my own publishing company, Kingwood Comics. So that's right, represent. That's right, wearing my logo. What up?
Right.
But yeah, so yeah.
Well, great. Well, I read that and learned about you, finding out that your family's from Ghana and
Yeah.
you have roots there.
I do.
And for most people, their perception of Africa is very skewed. Can you tell us a little bit about what life and culture is like in Ghana?
Yeah, okay. So like the food is 100 times better. Everyone there is just happy and grateful to just be alive, and they don't understand the concept of depression. They don't understand like the concept of depression or like people being sad. Like I was talking to them about one of my good friends who is wealthy, and this friend of mine who is a very wealthy person battles with depression. And they're like, oh, they were just like, oh, are they depressed because they don't have legs or something? I'm like, no, they have 2 legs. Like, oh, do they, are they blind or do they not have, I'm like, no, they have all that stuff working. They're just depressed. It just happens. And they're like, what? and they don't understand. Like, it's like, because everyone there is just happy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And what's it called? And I lost a lot of weight when I was there because food was dope and everything there is natural. And it was, I don't know, like I've heard people say when they've like a lot of Black people when they travel, to continent of Africa, they don't feel like a Black person. They feel like just a person. And I never really got that until like I think one time I wear glasses sometimes, and I left my glasses. I was working out at the gym. And like, I don't know if y'all have like dealt with this when someone's like trying to identify you who doesn't know you. They always want like, do you ever get that they want to say like, oh, that woman, or like that young lady. Like it always feels like there's like a little bit of that here, especially here. And I always feel like, oh, before I'm a guy, I'm a Black guy,
Mm-hmm.
No, like I'm very proud of my Blackness, but like I don't really like. There's something about my humanity that is missing here a little bit. But when I was there, I was just Dave. Like I was just a guy.
Yeah.
And it just felt really. I'm having, this was like 5 years ago. I'm still processing that, just like, just more humanity. And, when I got pulled over in Ghana, it was for an actual busted taillight. Like I wasn't like a suspect in something, and like, where I live now in New Jersey, it's kind of mixed. There's lots of white people. There's lots of white people. But if I'm walking, around at night, if I'm just because I like to, a brother likes to walk and just think, I have to be kind of like, okay, so I'm gonna call the comes on, and I've had that happen to me, and I've never had that happen before when I was in Ghana the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everyone should do it. Every person of color, every Black person should do. I don't know why my voice is doing this right now, but like I think everyone should do it. Just humanity and to them they didn't think it was that big of a deal. They're like, what, you're a guy everywhere? I'm like, no, you understand. Here I'm just a guy, and they're like, David, we don't get it. Like they really didn't understand it, so I just had to kind of like really American explain like what like just how the experience is like is, and how like like I know my roots and I know my family is from here, and just explain to them like, hey, like, some of my friends, we have to do this thing called ancestry, because this very scary thing called slavery happened. And you're just trying to, figure out source and everything. So, but yeah, like, just again, everyone is just so jovial. Everyone's happy, and so rich with emotion, and also the food is incredible. There's no such thing as like high fructose corn syrup is illegal there. Like David was being silly at the Newark International Airport. David fucked around and oh wait, can I curse on this?
Sure.
I was like, oh. wait, can I?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, I'm not gonna like curse like crazy, but it might happen. But like, I was kind of like goofing around, and I got like a Coca-Cola, and when I, they let me have it on the plane, but when I was walking in, they were like, "Stop! You cannot have this because it has these illegal ingredients that are not allowed past here." And I'm like, "Yo, man, it's Coca-Cola. What's the big deal?" I'm like, "What do you mean ingredients?" And they're just like, "This," and they pointed at high fructose corn syrup. And they made sure to like throw it away like in front of my face. I'm like, yo, relax. It's not like alcohol, but for them, it was like I brought like a bomb. Like I might as well have brought. And I said, no, everyone drinks this in America. And they were like, it was like because our Coca-Cola is way better, and their Coca-Cola is way better, by the way. Like
yes,
yo, like orange Fanta. The ingredients are literally oranges, cane sugar, mineral bubbling sparkling water. That's it. And it is delicious. Like, again, I lost 15 pounds and 10% body fat. Just like eating donuts and pizza. It gotta. And yeah, so yeah, I again like was just really grounded when I was there, and meditated and prayed a lot. I went to this place called the Achimota Mountains in Accra, and like I've never been so relaxed in my life. Like this is how relaxed I was. Basically, you're just kind of meditating and kind of focusing. Being meditated for them is just like there's no thought; it's only feeling and connection to God. Dave's gonna get a little corny, everyone. But yeah, I just kind of really connecting to source and just what I think of. Everyone says universe, Buddha, whatever, but for me, just kind of connecting to myself and praying and meditating, and was just so relaxed by the end of it. And it was like a 3-day retreat, and I was so relaxed. I woke up in my like little like tent. And I woke up to this spider that was like this, like this big, like on my like wall. And I didn't like, if it was here, like, I would have like put a hole through that thing, and like the spider would have gone crazy, and like I would have probably broken a leg. But I was just like, oh, that spider's there. It ain't bugging me.
Right.
I need some breakfast. And like all my stuff was like zipped up, and like the spider was just like, what's up?
Chilling.
I ain't bugging you, man. I woke up like this. So like do we have a problem or something like that? I'm like, nah, man. So spider was still there, and I thought the spider was dead because it got kind of cold that night. I'm like, oh, maybe the spider just froze or some shit. And the spider was like, I ain't dead. I'm like, oh, all right. but yeah, it was a great trip. I highly recommend it. Please do it, both of you. Do it. Well, don't do it till like they won't allow any of us in unless we know a diplomat or like 2022, 2020. Or,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
You don't want the cooties right now.
yes, yeah, the ghetto, the ghetto. Damn it.
That's awesome. So in the article spotlight that Sci-Fi Wire did on you, it mentioned that Harriet Tubman has roots and ties to Ghana too.
Yeah.
How did that connection influence and inspire your writing and storytelling?
It was like I found out in Ghana, like, and it was it just felt like a full circle moment. Like, and again, when I was there, I was not thinking about doing a comic book. I was not thinking about, like, if I was thinking about comics, I'm like, yeah, I gotta get that Miles Morales on Comixology. Like, that's the only time I thought about comics. But like, I think I just got lost in this documentary because they were celebrating Harriet Tubman, and they just mentioned, like, they did tracing and they found out that her roots were in Ghana and like in Accra. And I was like, oh snap, this is crazy. What the hell? I can't believe this. And I was like, wow. But influencing my writing, I don't know. I just kind of like, it was that, and then watching another after that documentary ended, they just kind of mentioned things that I didn't know yet about Harriet Tubman. Like, I didn't know she was 4'11", and I didn't know that she had like a sense of humor. Because when I see Harriet Tubman, I'm always like it's like it's very like dead serious, and but just finding out that she had like it was the nuance that she had a sense of humor and had levity, and I'm like, oh, like that's how you like, because this is a stressful, scary thing that people do, and showing up in the form of love. Because in America, it's always like she was a strong black woman, yeah, and like, but instead of like the humanity that she was a loving person. Like, I think my favorite story from that was when, and this influenced a lot of how I write the comic, was that Harriet Tubman was leading this family to freedom, and the father, it was like this big brother, and he was having a panic attack, and it's 1850, he doesn't know he's having a panic attack, but he's like, oh my god, like this was a mistake. I should have kept my family at home. They're gonna find us. They're gonna kill us. Like you're a fugitive. This is bad. He started, and he was loud. And this is a stressful time because this is when Harriet Tubman's like identity was like leaked. I say leaked like they had Twitter back in the day. Sorry. I'm like imagining a sketch now where Harriet Tubman has like a Twitter, like, we out, hashtag. Harriet Tubman turns off location on her cell phone. Sorry. I promise I'm a mature adult. But like, Harriet, so this guy's having a panic attack, right? And it's a really scary time. And Harriet Tubman walks over. She's 4'11", and they're like, "Oh shit, Harriet Tubman's gonna shoot him," because she had a gun. And she was known for, if like someone acts up, she was like, "Listen," And she just walked over, and everyone got nervous because she's like, she's gonna shoot him. And then instead of like getting really aggressive and being like, "Yo, shut the fuck up," she was like, "Hey, what's going on?" and just talked to him and gave him counsel. And no one knows what, because it got really quiet, because she took all this time to really listen to him, and she made him laugh. And I'm like, wait. And then he was calm, and it's like she disappeared all of his fear, all of his anxiety, by just being a present human being, and then making him laugh. And like making him laugh hard too. So I'm like, wait, that's a hero. That's what I want to write from that distinction of, in the face of this monster of slavery, of white supremacy, she can show up like this. I'm like, that's a badass. So so that kind of helped and inspire me, because I needed to find something that would I needed to find some type of quirk and being like able to maintain levity and wit during that time, and also like love for not just herself but for her people.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like she loves us. Like Harriet Tubman like loves us. So I just wrote it from that distinction, and yeah.
I love it. I think he did that really well. I really enjoyed that part of the book, because typically you would like expect the male to be like, yes, I am man and I'm going to kick everybody's ass. But he's the one that's having the issue in that particular moment. And the fact that, she was like very understanding with him, I was like, yeah, he did that right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like, some men were like low key, like, hey, yo, I'm a man. I ain't gonna let some 4'11" woman tell me what to do. All right. I was joking. Please, and like, because they had a hard time, because again, this 18, like, we think there's misogyny and bullshit like out now in 2021. Imagine 1850. So like, this woman, this dark skinned Black woman, is going to lead you, and you have to listen to this woman. You're like, man, my what? Like, and there was a lot of that, even like from Harriet Tubman's husband, who he was, I don't give a damn what that. I mean, Cynthia Erivo was a good Cynthia. I love you. She didn't write the movie, but she just showed up to act and collect the check. But that movie, Jonathan Tubman was not down with what his wife was doing. He was not supportive of it. He was like, "Listen, I'm free. We make like maybe $12 a week, which is a lot of money. Like, what are you doing? Just go there, do the work. We're fine. We're okay." And she was like, "No, this is wrong." And she defied her husband and said, like, "I'm gonna do this." And he was like, "Well, if you keep doing it, I'm gonna tell Massa." And she's like, "All right, tell him." And he's like, "What the fuck?" Which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna recreate that in my book, but like, recreate that from the perspective that she knows martial arts and has superhuman strength. But also, like, what does that do to like what does that do to a guy who has his own insecurities and stuff? And maybe down the road I'll make him a villain because he's mad that his wife rejected him. And it's not really about his wife, it's about him and his like own ego bullshit. And being rejected by this petite, dark-skinned Black woman who can't read, and he thinks he's better than her, so he must prove it in a weird way. So yeah. Oh shit! Spoilers for Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer down the road.
Well, along with that, my next question is, how important is your cultural heritage to you? That not only as a person, but as a writer?
I'm quiet because I'm thinking. I think as a person and as a writer, there are certain instincts that I have that growing up in certain communities that I would probably suppress, that are kind of like a natural way of reacting. I think certain places that I grew up, it was kind of welcome to be stressed and okay to be stressed. Like, if you're not stressed out or have this stressful reaction to this thing, you're not normal.
Mm.
But knowing how people that are of my heritage react and what certain beliefs, I think it was like a natural and like just an innate way of being, and kind of living my life in gratitude, and not like not just, and not like toxic positivity where it's like this shitty thing happened, we're just still gonna like be joyful anyway, but still acknowledging it and still being open to, and again, being open and acknowledging this, either something sad that happened, and instead of it kind of shrinking, kind of just kind of loving more. Because yeah, I've always kind of, again, I'm very corny. just the embrace of cynicism and resignation was in certain places is welcomed, but the hope and just kind of listening and recognizing, like, again, before when I said like they don't believe in depression, that doesn't mean they don't experience negative emotions. Like, I think when I was there, this guy, he said something really that stuck with me, because at first I'm like, man, what drugs are they on here? And he just said, well, because I was talking about like certain things I've experienced, and he says, well, cynicism, this great guy, he just said, well, cynicism is okay because it means something's missing. And we have to point those things out. It's good that what we like about America is the Black Americans, they point out when something is wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, cynicism, a little bit of cynicism is okay because we have to acknowledge what is missing and aggressively fight for it. They're not really about like cancel, like, you know, there is a little bit of cancel culture that happens here with us. They're very much like, well, I still think we do this, like, we like just kind of roasting and making fun of people. I say, no, if one person messes up, we have to humble them, like lovingly humble them, parentheses, roast them and make fun of them. And then be like, yeah, so why did you do that? You know? So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely you did. We're gonna take a question from Drew Phillips, who's watching, and he asked, do you feel obligated to an extent to create the way you do?
An obligation to create the way that meaning like I create stuff with black leads. I don't know if it's an obligation, but it's just, I just feel like naturally, like I just realized, like, my next two comics are Black and Afro-Latina leads. And I couldn't really imagine anything. And it's not because I'm like, yo, I want to be a Black person. I'm like, yo, I know people like this. I mean, I know white people like this, but I think I've seen that same story and that same iteration a billion times with a white person, you know. And I'm like, okay. And also, there's just something that like an acting teacher said to me, because some white people in my class who were being trash, they were mad that they were mad that this play had been redone with a Black cast. And he was like, yo, how come, you know, if I did Raisin in the Sun with white people, people would be mad. And my acting teacher, Gary Kingston, shout out to him, dope Irish white man, he was like, I think when it's Black people, it brings more character. Mm-hmm. And also, you can never do Raisin in the Sun with a white family, because I'm like, man, go ahead and explain this. and he did. He just was like, because it just, the play, it informs. It's the DNA is written for someone Black. When you do Death of a Salesman, it's a different play when that Black man's trying to sell something to support his Black family. Like the stress level. If it's a white dude, it's like, oh, you'll just find another job. like man, you'll be all right. He's like, boy, you just want that one job. He's like, just find like another company, you'll be all right. He's like, just try TD, just try another bank, it'll be fine. You know, when you're black, like the stakes are higher, and certain things might not pan out. Like, so that's why, like, again, like the next book I'm doing is I think it's not, sorry, I got a little mixed up. It's about a woman who is an assassin, and she's a retiring assassin, and you know she's about to retire, and she's kind of like, you know, killing a bunch of people, even if they're bad people. It's kind of made me. She's still a human being, so she kind of feels like a little bit dead inside. She's going to therapy, trying to really fix herself, and she's like, okay, I'll try dating because I haven't really dated. And she meets this guy, and she falls in love with this guy, this like really nerdy brother who's like a lawyer and stuff, and she like falls hard from him. So she's like about to start her life. She has this one final kill, and the final kill is the boyfriend, because he's a lawyer who's like prosecuting a bunch of mob bosses, and mob bosses want him gone. So she has to struggle with like, am I gonna kill this guy that's like my heart is here with him, and he's opened me up to being human, or am I gonna kill him, or like, do I not kill him? And I've set it up that like, if you don't like complete your kill, this like assassination squad like kills you. So her name is Beatrice, and the comic book is called Killer Bee. And spoiler, she doesn't kill him, so she has to go on the run. It's like John Wick, a romantic comedy. But again, we've seen that a million times with a white man, and like we've never seen like a goofy, tall. Like I'm basically writing myself for this guy. What's it called? Go to your question. We'll skip question. Sorry. I don't know. I was reading. Sorry. Private. Sorry, everyone. Ignore what I just said. But no, we've never seen like, again, we've never seen like a black man be like the damsel in distress. All right. We've never seen like we have seen a black man be like the hero and stuff, but like in the guise of like it being romance and black love and everything like that. So yeah, I do feel not obligated. I'm just like, come on. How many times can I see like a white dude whoop someone's ass that isn't Tom Cruise or Keanu Reeves? Well, Keanu Reeves half Asian, but you know what I mean. And that too. Originally I was going to make this woman I was going to make her Asian at one point because I was afraid of being known as like he's the dude that only makes stuff with black female leads who are badass. And my one friend who's an editor was like, hey, I really think you should. This is when I had the really early parts of it. It's like, hey, I think you should make it a black one. And I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, you're right. So shout out to Sharonda J. Brown, who's my amazing editor, and she's dope. Please follow her. She's responsible for me getting in Facebook jail, but I won't judge her. I share all her woke stuff. She's amazing. And follow Wear Your Voice magazine, a dope place run by awesome people of color.
Well, with the pandemic going on right now, the current climate has made it difficult for a lot of creators to connect with their audiences because a lot of them connect at conventions and things like that. How have you bridged the gap and continue to bring new content to your fan base and future new fans?
Yeah, just really, I think because there's only so much you can share on Instagram. There's only so much you can tweet, but it's thinking of new ways. Like recently, I directed a commercial for Chapter 5 of my comic, and I was like, Chapter 5 is coming out. I'm like, okay, what should I do? Because like, so I can just be like, yo, everyone, here's the link, subscribe, and I can only do that so many times. So everyone's always on me about, oh, this would be a good TV show. This would be a great movie or something. I'm like, all right, let me direct a commercial. And hired like a friend of mine who's a DP. Shout out to Lex Kimbrough, who drove from North Carolina to help me DP this. And my friends, Tony Kinnett, Kevin Slowly, my cousin, Joshua Bonner, all came together, and we shot this thing, and it looks really good. And that's not because of like me, but because everyone else is awesome and did their jobs. Like this girl Tiara, who's a friend of mine, came in to play Harriet, and my friend Caroline, and just kind of like going, not I want to say like, because it seems so surface, like, yo, I just go hard with my shit, but like really like, okay, like just really putting yourself, okay, what do I want to see? And I don't really see, and that's not a diss on any Black creative, usually, or any creative. Usually when they do like a book trailer, like for like a book, they have like, they hire actors and all this other stuff for it. I'm like, okay, let me do this like and make it seem like it's a movie that's coming out right now, and it's a comic, so. And I think I'm gonna keep doing that with all of my stuff, and also putting my, not just like dropping my comic and be like, yo, like and subscribe, also showing up as myself and just saying like, hey, there's a human being that makes this, and just having fun with it, and sharing my process, and sharing my highs, and also sharing like, not like my lows. I don't call it sharing my lows, just showing like the reality. I'm like, yo, David got some writer's block, and just sharing like funny memes about writer's block, and like going for walks, and just like really, or again, going live, showing up as me and be like, hey everyone, I'm David, I created this shit, look at my face and my big face. And like, that's right, a brother moisturized his skin. Please buy this so David can continue moisturizing his skin. I'm kidding. Not about moisturizing my skin, but like putting yourself out there as the creative, and sharing your process, showing them like I shared a funny conversation between me and my artist. Like he was like, hey, how do you want Harriet to look? Because you want her to like laugh. Like, how do you want it to look? And I said, yo, draw this as if Harriet Tubman found out a bunch of like white supremacists caught COVID. And then he drew this thing of Harriet Tubman being like, So I was like, right. Just like funny stuff, or like I share stuff from like my life, and like I don't, because some not all creatives, some creatives are very much like here's my art, nothing about me. But I'm like, oh, let me show you. Like I shared a funny thing where this white dude shot an arrow. It was on the news. He shot an arrow at like peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters. He shot an arrow. And then they came and whooped his ass. And he like this white man. I'm like really loud screaming white man, whatever, fuck it. This white man, this cloud colored gentleman, this almond milk drinking gentleman. This I watch every episode of Friends looking sir. Freaking got his ass whooped by a group of like Black people. And he made it seem like, oh, they attacked me first and everything like that. But it's real that, he shot an arrow. And I was like, I shared this funny image of like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And like, just a bunch of like Black people just like laughing at this white dude all beat up. And like one of my friends is Trump supporter moms got my number and texted me. And they're like, David, this is, fuck, I don't want to say his name. I'll make up this is Matthew's mother. I saw what you posted and I was very disheartened by it. And what would Harriet Tubman say if you shared that? And I was like, how did this white woman get my number? And I was like, yo, fuck it, I'm gonna share. So I just texted her. She gave me so much room. Thank you so much, Mrs. I won't say her name. Mrs. Thompson. Thank you so much, Mrs. Thompson, for this. But she was like, how would Harriet Tubman react if you were doing this? And I just sent her a picture of Harriet Tubman for my comic laughing. And I just thought that was funny. So I posted that I made that like a post. And then like, issues 1 through 4 out right now. And just really being open and transparent about your life. Not making everything about your comic or your art because they want to know who the person is. Like I said before, now the creative person is the star now. I think before in the 90s, the only directors we knew were like James Cameron, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and like that's it. For Black people, Steven Spielberg. Like that was it. For Black people, like Spike Lee, and like that was it. I don't know why I said Steven Spielberg. But yeah, like but now, we know and this is also because of social media, we know the director, we know the writers, we know the producers. So, and they're famous now. So, I hate the word like make yourself famous, but just kind of make yourself more visible and be okay with your personality, however your personality is. If you're like a very reserved person, have a sense of humor about being a reserved person, and just be honest and open and transparent, because people are going to buy your comic not just because it looks cool, but they're going to buy it because they like you and they feel like they know you.
Absolutely. That's really good advice for anyone, right? Whether you're a creative, of comics, a book, whatever you're trying to put out there, showing who you are as a person is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast, because I wanted, to show folks that it's like, it's not just a book that you're buying. Like, it's cool. They do great work. They really do. Yeah. But like, I want to know who they are as a person so that you can relate to them,
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. It just feels like, I don't know. I think someone said something to me where it's like, oh, I feel like they were describing this creator and they had never met them, but they're like, oh, I feel like I've met them in a way because I've listened to them and their podcast and what they say resonates with me. And I just I bought their books. Some of their books I haven't read. This is what a friend was telling me, is I haven't read some of the books, but I like them as a person. So I'm like, all right, cool. So let me just be as open the way I would be open with like one of my closest friends that I like care about and love when I'm on this. Someone, Michael Watson, people have to like you first at this stage of the game. Yes, people have to, not only do they have to like you, they gotta love you a little bit. just like a little bit, like we've been dating for 4 months type of love. Not like I'm ready to like move in and share a Honda and an HBO Max password with you. So so yeah, people need to need to like you, and you got to be approachable. Like there's a buddy of mine, I won't say his name, but there's a buddy of mine who's really popular on Instagram for his art, and I think he has like 200 something thousand followers, but he's a very quiet, reserved person. And people were coming to his table. We were sharing a booth at like a convention, and people were coming to his booth, and they were kind of like a little off-putting by how kind of like he was. And I'm like, dude, you're at a convention. You literally have your own store that people are coming to. Like, I know it's like early, but please, like, you must maintain a certain level of energy for this. And then he's like, man, but I'm like, okay, listen. And this is kind of cocky, but I'm like, yo, just watch me. and just because I'm like, people, like, it's a gift. It's a gift that like there's a banner of something that was in my head, and now it's like a banner and it's behind me. And like and people are like, oh, that's cool. Like that's even dope for me. And people walk over and they want to talk to you and ask you about it. So I'm like, I always say that every creative person should treat their book or whatever they do, they need to treat it I'm like I'm shaking like the camera because I'm like, they need to treat whatever they create like it's Star Wars.
Mm.
You know, you have to go hard and passionate for your thing like it is Star Wars. I have shared, I think I've done 2 Kickstarters now during terrible suicidal times for a book or any type of Kickstarter during a time where a Star Wars movie was coming out, and it was that 3-week period of like a Star Wars movie coming out, or like the hardest one, Avengers Endgame. It was the last time I did and the Game of Thrones series finale. Don't be like me, but everyone was sharing like, "Yo, Avengers, this moment in Avengers. Oh, this moment in freaking Game of Thrones was trash, whatever." But I'm like, okay, we have to be as that stuff is cool, but like be that passionate about your thing. Like it's Game of Thrones, like it's Avengers Endgame. Like I don't think I shared also because like I had to. I think I shared like one thing of Avengers Endgame because my Kickstarter dropped the week it was opening. So like really being passionate about your project, whatever it is, like it's the newest like franchise, and that energy will be it will make you magnetic and it'll be contagious in a way because you know deep down inside people are more attracted to positivity, they're much more attracted to love and like passion. And so he was watching me like talk to people like just nerding out about like you know my comic, and you know and he'd started doing that for his art, you know, and then really connecting to the why of why he made this and the why of like, oh, this is cool to me, this is why it's cool to me, and he started to sell a bunch of his stuff. And he he like sold, I think he sold out of his stuff. And I was like, see, be passionate about your stuff and like be turned on for your stuff, turn on and turn up for your stuff, please. And he was like, fine, whatever. I'm like, so like again, like that's how you gotta be passionate. Like Demon Slayer, or whoever is listening to this, whatever you do, if you're in music, girl, boy, be on your thing like Beyonce, and you know, so yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice for anyone, you know, endeavoring to do anything, you know, like love your stuff, show, you know, because people won't really love it as, you know, as much as you will. So you got to show them, you know, why you're so passionate about it and why you feel like it's worth the time, energy, and investment to bring this to the world. Because a lot of us have a lot of unique skills and talents that like, it's really just a mind thing about like bringing it forward and being brave enough and courageous enough to like let the world see you, kind of, you know, going back to, you know, what you were talking about a little bit before.
Yeah, like
yeah,
really exposing yourself because yo, like yeah, this is scary, yo. This is scary. Like, and I will admit, like I was not gonna do this as a Kickstarter. The first one, like I had the idea and had shared the image, and I was nervous about doing a Kickstarter because I had just seen Michael Watson said, "Turn on and turn up, love it." Yes, right. I had seen a Kickstarter that was $10,000 away from its goal, and I thought it was a really cool thing, and it didn't make its money, and it was a failure. So I was like nervous about failing publicly because you know if I fail at things, you know, if I trip, you know, if I trip in my bathroom, like only I saw that shit. Maybe my neighbor heard a loud thrash. That's about it. But like, but you know, to do it publicly, I'm like, oh man, I feel weird with my passion and everything like that. But just really avoiding that and just focusing on the vulnerability. And by vulnerability, I don't mean like being vulnerable. I mean like being vulnerable. You know, like they say that the energy of being nervous and excited it's the same energy, but it's about like the lens. Yeah, Drew Phillips, why would I be excited about your stuff if you aren't excited about your stuff? Yes, exactly. That is true. But yeah, like the energy of being excited versus the energy of being like nervous, same energy, but it's all about like the lens you put on it, you know. Like I think that helped me out because my background is in acting, and I used to be nervous about getting on stage, and I would kind of like shrink a little bit. But I think one of my coaches just said, "Hey, like again, same energy, but it's about the lens." So imagine you're going down like a roller coaster ride. He was white. I'm like, that's a terrible example. Like my black ass is afraid of heights, but I think it's something else, brother. Better dig a little deeper. But he was like, okay, like you're going on like a date with someone you like care about and whatever you connect. And I'm like, all right, so just being open, showing up like this, showing up like expanded and excited, you know, and no matter what happens, at least you're there. At least you're, you know, at least you're on the court and you're in the game and you're doing it, you know, because you're whooping everyone else's ass who's like sitting there thinking about it. You're actually out there. You might you might not score a shot, but damn, you are playing. At least you playing. Like keep playing.
Exactly. It'll take practice. So back when you were younger, you did a comic strip called Adventures of Thunder Boy.
Like
And you talked a little bit about how you didn't like reading as a child, but comics was something that helped you to grasp your attention and, you know, help you to learn through reading through comics.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to dust that off and venture into children's literature or create more comic stories that are targeted at younger readers?
Yes, I do. I'm going to do this comic book. I mean, not comic, it's going to be a children's book called Money Doesn't Grow on Trees. And it's literally going to be like, you know, I don't know, when I was a kid, I'm like, Mom, Dad, I want a Sega Genesis. And they're like, son, money doesn't grow on trees. We just got you a Super Nintendo. And I was like, why is like, I don't know, as a kid, I just thought of like, oh, money growing on trees. And I'm like, so it's just like a funny picture book of like, you know, this kid, his parents say like a certain thing, but he takes it like literally. I just thought it was a cute, funny thing. Like, you know, if like I think my nephew or my nieces, they heard that I said I like Eminem, and I showed them like a picture of him. This was probably terrible. I was like, oh, that's Eminem. That's this rapper that I like. And they were like, oh, we thought he was an actual Eminem. They're like really let down. They're like really disappointed. I was like, what? Like they thought like an actual like from the freaking commercials was gonna come on and start like rapping or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm like, y'all so cute. So like I'm just gonna kind of put that in the picture book, you know, because children's imaginations are funny and cute. So
Well, speaking of like creative, on your Facebook page, you provided Harriet with 2 cans of Twisted Tea to fight during the height of the Twisted Tea memes. Are you going to have a Twisted Tea variant comic?
I am now. Yo, I should freaking do. Yo, the dude who drew that Nicholas J. Parima was like, "Yo, man, I'm doing this with your art." I'm like, just deal with it. He was like, "Yo, go ahead." He's like, "I bet." Yo, I should because I made like a Corona variant where I turned all the vampires into COVID and I put a mask on Harriet because I was like, yo, wear a mask so I can like see movies and stuff. And like, you know, I'm running out of date options with this Bumble account. My black ass ain't going outside and like I am not taking this girl to a park. Y'all, I am freezing. Like this ain't cute. So everyone wear a mask. My black ass is tired of taking these women to outdoor restaurants. Too cold for this shit.
That's too funny. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. Kickstarter reward. I'm telling you that's the heat.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Hey, yo, $75 tier. Twisted Tea, Harriet Tubman.
Man, $5. Steve, what are you talking about? What?
That's right. That's right. You know how much that's gonna cost me to like just. Well, I can just use the one that I have and just blow it up.
Yes, I mean,
I'll just use the one that I have and just like do a what's it called, a high res scan or something. And no,
make a shirt at the very least. Something I know they do well.
done. Moana, you have convinced me, Moana. I will
I'm
do
just
it.
saying, you know, Kickstarter is my jam. So
Done. It will happen. Yeah, my friend didn't. One of my friends didn't know Twisted Tea was like. He thought it was like Arizona iced tea or something like. So he bought it and like went home, and then he like finished. He's a lightweight. He finished the can, and he didn't know that it was like alcohol. He just thought, oh, it's iced tea, and he like downed it, and he was cleaning, and he was just like.
ooh.
he told me about it. He's like, yo, man, I just drank this whole Twisted Tea. I'm like, it's twisted hard tea, man. There's alcohol in it. It's like 20% alcohol. Oh, that explains a lot. Like, yeah, I gotta lay down. Got drunk. Hilarious. Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap it up here, last question: what kind of legacy do you intend to leave with your art?
I intend to leave a legacy of inspiration and making sure that Black boys are okay with their vulnerability. Not more than okay with their vulnerability, like really excited about it and not ashamed of it, and also can be nerdy and creative with themselves. And again, like, yes, I want that for Black women and people of color, but you know, I just see, like, especially like Black boys, their humanity and their love and softness is kind of under attack a little bit, where they're kind of forced to be hardened, and it's not really cool to be, you know, soft or to have love, basically, or jovialness. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw this play. I'm gonna make this really quick, so we have a guest soon. I saw this play a couple years ago, and in this play, it was like a collection of short scenes, and this dude, this big hulking Black man, hired a prostitute, and she was like, "What do you want? You know, what do you want me to do?" And he was like, "I just want to be hugged." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, he didn't want sex from this prostitute. He just wanted to be hugged, and he wanted to be loved. And the audience laughed like it was fucking funny. And I'm like, no, this is not good. This is not good. And I was like, white person. But I'm like, no, like, please, please be okay with loving yourself and also wanting to be loved. You don't have to be this, like, I mean, it's cool to be, you can be both still. You can still be like, but like, please, like, be okay with your humanity, and just leaving a legacy of creativity and love and an embrace of softness, because we're told a million times to be hard and to be this, and kind of dead those parts of us, you know. So that's what I want.
That's good. That's awesome. Well, I really enjoyed the interview tonight. It's just been such a pleasure to talk with you. I think you had just such amazing, like, a broad spectrum of experience and just like thoughts for people to think about, a different mindset, which I think is really important specifically in 2021, given all the challenges that we have right now too.
Yeah. a lot of we will get through this.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. We absolutely will. Yeah.
I mean, it's only day 8. I think
7. Yeah. Going to
8, 9, 10. What? It's only day, but I think it's a. I don't know. Someone said this to me. They said, before you put bad kids to bed, they act craziest. That's when they act like and I have nieces. I love my nieces and nephews. But when you put in the bed, they're like they kick and scream and storm capitals. Shit. I mean, like that type of stuff happens. But I think they know their time is coming and it's ending, so they're going to be acting up a little bit. So let them act up. Let them be crazy and get arrested or shot or not, and love yourself more and laugh at them and share memes and get banned on Facebook for 3 days.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you everybody who is listening and watching to tonight's show. We appreciate you all checking us out and learning more about the beautiful Indigenous community and the amazing creatives who are a part of it. Be sure to follow us on the Moana Nui podcast at moananuipodcast.com. You can also find me on Instagram at The Real Life Moana. And please also follow David at D Crownson and Dana, my beautiful co-host, at Danike Events as well. Thank you, everybody. Until we talk to you all again, take care, wear your mask, stay safe, and be good to each other. Bye-bye.